Hello again. I'm Dr. Scott Davis. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of Famous Addictions That Changed History. In each one of these episodes, I take you through a brief journey of how addiction to drugs drove a famous person, good or bad, living or dead, to not only change their life and many others, but ultimately the course of history. Addiction, of course, as we've said, is a devastating disease to fall prey to, no matter who you are, rich or poor, famous or not. The disease of addiction does not discriminate. Famous people often are seen as invincible and untouchable, but they too suffer from addiction. There have been countless figures who have battled with addiction throughout their lives. Many went on to influence society in some way through their work, good or bad. In each of these episodes, we explore the captivating story of another person in history who struggled with addiction, how it changed their own life and many other lives around them, and history in the process. Our next subject to discuss today is the famous singer Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin was one of the most influential musicians of her lifetime, and her life story is an inspiring one. Born in 1943 in Port Arthur, Texas, she was raised in a very conservative family and faced many struggles throughout her childhood. But despite this, she persevered and went on to become a major figure in the 1960s counterculture movement. Her unique vocal style and powerful stage presence made her an icon of the era, but it was also during this time that she developed a dangerous addiction to drugs and alcohol. Joplin's addictions began in her teenage years when she started experimenting with amphetamines. She eventually became addicted to heroin, which had a profound effect on her life and career. Her heroin use caused her to miss many performances and recording sessions, leading to strained relationships with bandmates and producers. Despite these issues, Joplin's music continued to be popular among fans who connected with the raw emotions in her songs. Her addictions were fueled by several factors, including loneliness, depression, and low self-esteem. She had difficulty fitting into the traditional roles expected of women at that time, which led to feelings of isolation and frustration. Additionally, as her fame grew, so did the pressure from fans and critics alike to maintain her success. This pressure only increased when she joined the infamous quote-unquote 27 Club, a group of musicians who all died at age 27 due to drug or alcohol abuse, alongside Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison. In interviews, Joplin often spoke about how her personal struggles influenced her songwriting. She said that she spoke from a place of pain and vulnerability, hoping that it would help others who were going through similar experiences. In this way, Joplin was able to bring authenticity to her music by sharing stories that were deeply personal, yet relatable for many of his listeners. The music industry's drug culture of the 1960s also played a role in Joplin's addictions. Drugs like LSD were widely used among musicians as a way to enhance creativity or escape reality for a while. For Joplin specifically, drugs became an easy way for her to cope with her inner demons as well as external pressures from fame and success. Joplin's addictions had both positive and negative effects on her artistry. On one hand, they helped fuel her creativity by inspiring some of her most iconic songs, such as Me and Bobby McGee or Piece of My Heart. By singing about these topics in a way that was both honest and compassionate, Joplin was able to give voice to those who felt unheard or misunderstood due to their addictions. On the other hand, they hindered her ability to perform consistently due to their physical toll on her body and mind over time. Ultimately, though, Joplin's personal experiences, shaped both how she wrote music as well as how she performed it on stage, making it impossible to separate the two aspects of herself. Janis Joplin's addictions ultimately and undoubtedly had an impact on her career and music. However, they also gave rise to some of the most iconic songs in rock history. Through her raw emotion and heartfelt lyrics, she was able to connect with fans all over the world who could relate to her struggles with addiction and ultimately found solace in her music. We can look at a few examples of how her songs convey the emotions triggered by her addictions. For one, the song Summertime. In this cover of George Gershwin's classic, Joplin's raspy and powerful voice conveyed an intense vulnerability, which can be attributed to her struggles with addiction. Or her tune Piece of My Heart, Joplin's passionate and soulful rendition of this song showcases the pain and longing she experienced as a result of her addictions. The line, take another little piece of my heart now, baby, reflects the feeling of giving oneself away despite the toll it takes on one's well-being. And as one other example, the song Cosmic Baby. The lyrics of this song touch upon the feelings of isolation and despair that often accompany addiction. She sings, time keeps moving on, friends they turn away. Joplin's passionate performance serves as an outlet for her own experiences with substance abuse. The impact that Janis Joplin had on popular culture is undeniable. Not only did she help shape rock music, but also influence generations after her with messages about freedom from societal norms and embracing individuality despite hardships faced along the way. Her song serves as an important reminder that addiction can affect anyone, regardless of race or societal status, something that still resonates today more than ever before, given our current opioid crisis. It is always important to note that these individuals' addictions do not diminish their accomplishments and contributions to society and history. As we see, ironically, sometimes the effects of their addictions have had very profound consequences for their work. Their stories, though, serve as reminders of the complex relationship between addiction and innovation, or in Janis Joplin's case, her music, as well as the need for greater awareness and support for those struggling with addiction. Please remember, if you or someone you know has a problem with drug addiction, click on the link to my website at scottdavismd.com to work with you or someone you care about to find a path back to recovery and a better life. Please subscribe to this podcast and you'll be immediately notified of new episodes. As a subscriber, you would also be entitled to exclusive podcast episodes for subscribers only and other bonus features. Please join me again on the channel to explore how the addictions of another famous person would ultimately change the course of history. I'm Dr. Scott Davis, and thanks again for joining.